Yo, can everybody hear me out there? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yo, can everybody hear me out there? My screen looks a little different, so I'm making sure everything's okay. Hope everybody can hear me. Hadn't been talking too much on here, so I guess can't say hope you can hear me if I'm not talking, huh? Let's see something. Thunder's Production says, "What's up, Jay Roos? What's up, man?" So okay, so everything is going okay. What's going on with you, man? Trying to see why I can't see. I'm just chilling. Thunder's Productions. Does everything look all right on the screen? Cause I'm having trouble finding myself on here for some reason. I know what I'll do. I'll go out and come back in. Let me see if that works. Technology. Speaking of technology, what was up with all the buffering on Netflix? I heard all of LA crashed watching Netflix. There was so many people, but then yet there's some people that I heard of in LA that saw the fight. So I don't know. Maybe it's just certain parts of Los Angeles. But there's all kind of information I've gathered from this shell of a fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. What is going on here? How's it going, man? I'm just, man, just chilling. I'm trying to figure out why I can't see my live on the screen. Oh, how you doing, man? Everything all right with you? What's going on? You just chilling as well? On the screen, am I facing the right way or is it tilted or anything? I don't know why I can't tell what's going on today. I was sideways, so now I'm straight. I tell you, man, is it straight now? YouTube is weird. You hit horizontal and then you still have to go vertical. What's up, Charlene? Is everything good with you? Why can't I see what is going on? Okay, so it's better now. I don't know what's going on. But let me just go ahead and get started. Shout out to all y'all Thunders Productions. Yeah, man. That mic thing was something else. I rewatched it, and based off what I saw, it looked a lot like both guys, especially Mike, like they were pulling their punches. Now there's something definitely going on with Mike. What's up to you, Fizz? Shout out to you. But there was something definitely going on with Mike Tyson's legs, of course. We all could see that, even walking into the ring. But there was something going on with his punches too, man. When you watch him train, and that's the thing with Mike, he was following through with his punches, as Emmanuel Stewart used to say, the great Emmanuel Stewart. He wasn't punch. You know, some fighters punch at the target, like touch it, and some people punch through the target. Mike was just punching at the target. He wasn't punching through the target. So that's just not how he fights, and that's not how he trains. I noticed Jake caught Mike with an overhand right. That was pretty good. And then Mike caught him maybe once. But, you know, when something is staged, you're going to have to throw one or two shots to make it look legitimate. Just like, I hate to say, but if you've ever cheated on a test in school, you don't try to get them all right. You miss one or two or three just so it looks kind of believable. So you mix in the little punches with the little pull punches so people aren't on to it, because Butterbean used to have some fights back in the day on Tuesday night fights where the you could clearly see on the replay he didn't hit the guy and he goes down and the crowd starts yelling fixed and all that. That happened a couple times with Butterbean. So I'm wondering, is Jake Paul the Butterbean of this generation? You know, makes you wonder. Sammy says, in my opinion, Mike looked kinda sick. I thought so too. The overhand right didn't do much, honestly, James. Yeah, man, it did. It really didn't. It really didn't. And I thought Mike looked kind of sick too, just how he's walking to the ring. He looked fresh and youthful at the weigh-in through the quick slap, and then on fight night, he looked like something was wrong, like his mind was elsewhere. I thought he's messing with his mouth guard or his gum shield, as you say in the UK. Come to find out, he was biting his glove, and the commentator was going back and forth with Roy Jones. Roy Jones said something's wrong with his mouthpiece, and I forget the other guy's name. He's like, I don't want to argue with you, Roy, but I've seen him do that in a lot of fights. I've grown up watching Mike Tyson. I've seen him. He usually holds his gloves like this, kind of like the old school fighters, but I've never seen him bite on his gloves. That can tear up your glove. Why would he do that? And I don't want to look too deep into it, but he stumbled in the entrance. Yeah, he did. Biting his glove to keep from biting Jake. Yeah, it almost seemed like that. Like, shout out to John Johnson. I was talking to him, and he was saying that that's a friend of mine. He was saying maybe Mike was biting his glove like he had to take it out on someone. Like, I can't hit Jake like I want to, so let me bite my glove. It was just real strange to watch. He said something interesting also. He said people knew, especially people that run streaming sites, they knew about the numbers they would get. So why didn't they charge more money? It was just free if you had Netflix, and you could order Netflix for next to nothing. They could have really made a whole lot of money from this, but I think they knew because it wasn't technically an exhibition that people would be mad and want their money back, and they would really complain, so they made it free because it was supposed to go on their pro boxing record. Tyson and Jake Paul supposed to have been a legit pro fight, no headgear, but it was 2 minute rounds and it was 8 rounds and it was 14-ounce gloves. You don't see pro fights like that. So I don't know if we all got taken or what. I think Mike was biting his glove to control his anger. That's what I'm thinking too, Sammy. Strange fight, definitely. Yeah, James Hill, shout out to you. Sammy Thompson, shout out to you. Man, I seen an interview with Sugar Ray Leonard after the fight, and he didn't want to say it looked fixed, but he was alluding to it. Wow, I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, people that have boxed before and grew up watching Mike Tyson and other heavyweight fights and great fights know how Mike Tyson fights, and some want to blame it on age. If anything, it maybe it was the abuse of the drugs all the years. Emmanuel Broderick, shout out to you, man. Thanks for coming through. Ready to see Mike have an interview about the fight. Yeah, he probably signed an NDA, but knowing Mike, he'll probably just say it. I mean, what's the worst Jay can do? Someone be like, hey, whatever, man. But that fight was not on the up and up. But Mike seemed conflicted even going to the ring in the last press conference. Like, you know, he didn't like what he was about to do. And people are even talking about the interview he did with the little girl where she asked him about legacy. And she's a little girl. And Mike dropped the F bomb and talking about what is legacy. Nobody cares about legacy. That's a word people just came up with recently. And he said everyone's gonna, leave this world, is what he said. I reject a lot of what Mike Tyson says because sometimes he contradicts himself. But it's like he didn't want to be remembered for what he was about to do. I saw a body language expert. This guy's into the ops and all that, and he said he could tell it was fixed the way Jake Paul was slouching. Means he said that he's not telling the truth. And he said when you lie, your body does an adrenaline jump and it causes parts to itch like your nose and stuff. And Jake was scratching his nose, and there were just all kind of things that he said things to look for when to look he this is what he does for a living, so he looks for when people are not telling the truth. And he said the fight was fixed. I read a comment too. This lady said her husband is a kickboxer, and he said first thing, hey, this fight is staged. When he listened to Jake Paul's corner and they weren't giving him any tangible advice, they were just saying, hey, he's the old lion, you're the young lion. He said, this is fixed. No corner would do that. I don't know about that. But if you rewatch it, you can see Mike pulling his punches. It's like he's just trying to touch Jake. He's not trying to hurt him. We all know if Jake got in the ring with young Mike, Jake would have a broken jaw. Absolutely, Sammy. Absolutely. Made you a moderator there, Sammy. Appreciate you. James Hill, 12 days in the hospital. He should have just canceled the fight. Yeah, man. But too much money to turn down. That's the thing that frustrates me. Mike acted like, he's so well off from his side hustle that I don't think he should be doing it. I don't think Customato would be too happy about his choice of business. But he kept acting like, I wouldn't do this for the money because I don't need the money. And then all of a sudden, looks like he might have done it for the money. But, it's strange. I had his sparring partner. Shout out to Jet Blackwell, who won his fight Saturday on the undercard of Charles Martin in the Bay Area. Shout out to him. But I interviewed him, and he said Mike knocked his tooth out. And even though he said his tooth was already messed up and Mike was looking good and he still has it, this guy's younger than Jake. So how in the world was he doing that good in sparring and then on fight night he freezes up? Mike's used to fighting under the limelight, even though he's had years off. Muscle memory. Charlene says Mike's too heavy-handed. He hit Jake, and Jake backed up. Mike just stood there. It was almost like he thought a shot. I can't. This kid. I need my money. It almost was like that. Like if I hit this guy too hard, like I'm gonna be in trouble. I got to get this back. Yeah, Charlene, there was some funny business going on. There's no doubt about that. And to everybody, like, see, I told you so. Jake was gonna win. You were right, but was it on the up and up? Is what I'm saying. He has plenty of money already, but 30 million, but 20 million is too much. Not, not to get for your family. Yeah. Sammy says Mike is clearly dealing with some health issues. I'm really concerned for him. He looked not well. He didn't look well. Even when he was jumping around, he looked off balance, man. Fizz says he couldn't knock Jake out anyways because Jake was running the entire first round. Yeah, and then he would hold. But then again, Jake kept running away. Yeah, man, Jake was running and holding anytime Mike would land. And you guys remember the show Yo MTV Raps back in the 80s and early 90s? There was a guy on there named Ed Lover, and he has a clip where they were just playing around, and Mike just barely tapped him in the ribs, and he said that hurt more than anything, and he's like hunched over. We thought he was just playing because Mike just tapped him. So Mike can hurt you with just a tap. So imagine if he follows through. And Charlene, didn't you say that Mike put his hand on your shoulder or something and you could feel the weight of it? I've heard other people say stuff like that about Mike. Jake was very cautious of Mike. Yeah, man. And another thing someone else said, I forget who Jake was fighting. Maybe it was Tyron Woodley, where he looked kind of nervous. He looked kind of nervous for Tyron Woodley, but he looked real calm for Mike Tyson. That made no sense to me. Only way you would look that calm is if you know the outcome, in my opinion. And it's going to be hard for Jake Paul to sell his next fight unless this next fight is indeed against someone like a Canelo or Baturbiev, who called him out. A lot of people were calling out Jake Paul now. Antonio Tarver, who said, pointed out he was in Rocky Balboa, where Rocky came out of retirement around 60 to fight him, which is pretty much the same story as what we got. And now Antonio Tarver's 55, man. He looks great. He does not look 55. And he said, he'll fight Jake. He offered to before, but Jake wouldn't take it. Or Antonio Tarver said he's never been knocked out. So I would like to see that if it's legit. And I used to say, if this fight is legit, Mike Tyson would win. Now I'm questioning if it was legit. And Andre Ward, I think he wants to get in there and fight Jake. Charlene, yeah, I thought my knees would buckle. Yeah, so see if Mike is just putting his arm on people and their knees feel like it's gonna buckle, how in the world is Jake gonna take a punch from Mike Tyson? And it's just people are not happy with that fight. It was almost depressing to watch because even though I think the outcome may have been decided and not so much choreographed, people almost left feeling depressed, walking out of the room before it finished. I saw some guy smashed his TV, and Jake is definitely getting a lot of hate now. I think Jake knew that, so he tried to show respect to Mike and bow at the end. Mike stuck out his hand, and I don't think Jake saw it to shake. And I noticed when they met in the center of the ring, I didn't know this the first time I watched it, but Jake told Mike, I think he said "love you" before the fight started. So a lot of people are starting to come down on Jake because they don't like what they saw, and they don't like to feel that they got tricked, even if it was out of a little money, even if it was a penny. People don't want to be tricked out of a penny. And it's just, when is Jake going to really have a serious fight that people know is a fight? He fought Tommy Fury, the first real boxer he fought, and he lost. Yeah, Jake knew he was about to get a lot of backlash. Absolutely. And those that think it's just about age, I keep saying, well, if you're just washed up the minute you hit your 50s, then go ahead, Jake, get in there with David Tua. This guy trains every day. He never abused his body, from what I know. Same with Ikabe Abuchi. We're all like 51, 52. Go ahead and fight one of us, Jake, and let's see how that works out for you. I train every day too, man. So it's not like I've been doing no drugs or drinking. Don't do none of that, man. I live a clean life. A clean life makes the playing field even. And Mike hasn't lived a clean life. If it was legit, I think it's because all his years of drug abuse and all that finally caught up to him. It's sad. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up on your way in, by the way. Um, Sorry it's a little late to start this live stream. Some technical issues was part of the reason. Well, looks like I can finally see myself. Go watch the Roy Jones fight. Mike legs looks fine. Yeah, like someone else said, you don't age that much in 4 years, man. There's it's some funny stuff going on, and you hate to see that because, like Mike said, he didn't need the money, so there's no reason for that. It just really isn't. There's no reason for that at all. Mike was like cutting off the ring and everything when he fought Roy Jones, and Roy talked about getting hit in the chest by Mike and it felt like a mule kick. It should have been an exhibition. It really was an exhibition. Shout out to a platform called Jesse on Fire. And he said, they got us, man, because he was with Mike Heavy. And he said, he just figured out what it was. It was called a pro fight, but it was an exhibition behind closed doors, because he pointed out the interview that Roy Jones did on Shane Mosley's podcast, where Roy mentioned that they couldn't hit to the body, or they could hit to the body but not the head, or the fight would be stopped. He told this stuff to the masses, and a lot of people didn't know that. I knew it, but a lot of people didn't, and they were trying to sell the Paul Tyson fight at the time. So the minute that got out, 5 days later, they announced that the Tyson Paul fight would be a legitimate fight, so people would want to buy it. So, Fizz says it was, but Mike has a loss to Jake Paul on his pro record. And that's crazy. That is crazy. Made you a moderator there, Fizz. So if any Jake Flakes want to come in here and talk nonsense, get them up out of there. You're the virtual bouncers. I just that was an odd fight to watch, man. Very odd. Thunder's Production says, honestly, if they said it was exhibition, I wouldn't have been bothered. But don't say it's a real fight if no one is trying to KO each other. Exactly. They were just in there, like, basically playing tag, Mike is throwing an occasional hard shot. And then one thing that I really noticed, he landed a left hook to the body, and you could literally see him pulling the punch like, I just wanted to touch you and let you know I'm still in here. Mike don't fight like that. He didn't train like that. He don't spar like that. Mike follows through with his punches. That's why everybody was backing Mike Tyson that grew up watching him. Boxing heads, Lennox Lewis, Zab Judah, a lot of credible boxing people were picking Mike Tyson because they saw the training footage. And, that's all we had to go by. Then I had seen a little bit about his sickness too, but I didn't know how serious it was. But I know he asked the nurse or something, was it life threatening or something? Apparently, he had like 8 blood transfusions, and I did see a clip where he was Mike Tyson was just getting out of his car. I think it was a Rolls Royce, very nice by the way. And I looked at Mike's legs and they looked skinny. And I thought Mike always had pretty big legs, but I looked at his calves on the night of the fight and they looked extra thin. I thought that was odd. Jake would not have gotten the ring with young Mike. He would have known better than that. Yeah, you're right, Sammy. Shout out to Sammy Thompson, Charlene, Thunders Productions, Fizz. Fizz says apparently the training videos were made before Mike went to the hospital and stuff. I'm thinking so too. I want to get Jet Blackwell back on the podcast, who sparred with Mike out of Fresno, California, and ask him when their sparring took place because I found out after the interview he DM'd me and he said that he was getting Mike ready for Jake Paul, but he wasn't allowed to talk about it till later, so I didn't mention it. He didn't just get Mike ready for the Roy Jones fight, he got Mike ready for Jake Paul. So I want to ask him when that sparring took place because if anything funny was going on, there's no way Jet Blackwell knew it. He's a class act, and he wouldn't go for anything like that and put his reputation on the line. I'm sure Jake and Mike and them kept that in house. Bruce Gas, boxing, jazz, and more. Go subscribe to Bruce Gas. He just says, salute, brother. Salute to you, man. Salute to everybody that's come through. Just talking more Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and all the fighters that are calling them out. Antonio Tarver, Andre Ward, Artur Beterbiev, Andrew Tucker World, me. Man, if I had more subscribers, I would spend every day putting out videos calling out Jake. And Jake, you should want to fight me, man. I'm 52. You like fighting people in their 50s, but this 52-year-old will beat the brakes off your hairline. And that's a fact. It's just sad that I waited that long for this fight, and that's what we got, man. It was it's crazy. And what happened to what I read? I read Richard Steele was gonna be the ref for this fight. I did a video on it. Then it was a different referee. What happened to Richard Steele? I was wondering what happened. I thought he'd retired, so I was like, wow, they're bringing Richard Steele back. Is this to get a feeling of nostalgia or something? The vintage days? But there was no Richard Steele and there was no real heavyweight fight. Grant Rogers says Earth is a level and stationary created realm. Thank you, Grant Rogers. Thunders Production says, remember when 52-year-old Larry Holmes schooled Butterbean? Butterbean did fight Larry Holmes. A lot of people don't know that. That's why I'm saying, people that just like to make a blanket statement about age, it sounds like you're a cookie cutter thinker and you just believe whatever you're told. Look at Robbie Robinson, the bodybuilder. He's in his late 70s. This dude looks physically better than dudes in their 20s and trains a lot harder than most of them. You can't just say it's one way for everybody. Everybody's different depending on your DNA, your genetics, your lifestyle, your belief system. You can't just say once you reach 50, you're done and you'll never do this and you'll never. That sounds ignorant. Grant Rogers says, you're welcome. Thanks for reading that. Hey, man, shout out to you. Thanks for coming through. Grant Rogers in the building. Fizz says, I didn't expect Mike to show his bare Yeah, man, on live TV. What was that about? I saw that too. I was like, all right. Mike Tyson after dark. Getting to see same stuff his wife sees, I guess. Yeah, I didn't sign up for all that Netflix. Netflix, get your buffering together. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. You sign up to watch a big fight and then you spend half of it trying to adjust your screen and boot it and everything. I wish fights first of all would just go back to regular TV so you ain't gotta do all that you ain't gotta do all that the buffering and just regular TV, man. Technology, man. I was over on Counterpunch Boxing News. We were supposed to go live together. I came in for a little bit and then I bounced. Couldn't see nothing. It's like it was going fine until I went live. So I ended up seeing it, but it was a little bit behind. It's like if I went live, it was just buffering. I had to go a little bit back to get it to play smoothly. So I didn't want anyone to tell me ahead of time what was going to happen because I wanted to see it in real time. Grant Rogers says it may have been a ritual, humiliation ritual. Sounds weird, but strange things happen when tens of millions of dollars change hands. Hey, Grant, you might be on to something. Humiliation. Yeah, that people don't know about a lot of that stuff, but you're speaking facts, man. It could have been that. And because Mike went in the ring looking conflicted, like, do I want to go through this right now, or am I going to really try to stop this guy? You know some stuff, Grant. I know you know what you're talking about. A lot of sheeple out there don't have no clue what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Fizz says the only time mine was working was when Mike showed his back. So you got to see that, just perfectly, huh? Oh man. Sammy Thompson says boxing has become kind of a joke now. It's kind of hard to take serious now. Yeah, I know, man. What Jake Paul's our top heavyweight now? Absolutely not. Ika Beabuchi's coming back next month, y'all, December 7th. I want him to come in there and show everybody that age ain't necessarily what they think it is. Thunder's Production says those rituals are real, man. Yeah, they're real. A lot of people don't know that. They're definitely real. Definitely real. Remember Chris Rock, Will Smith? Do you guys really think that was a real slap? If you look at it, you can see Chris Rock bracing to get slapped before he gets slapped. He plants his foot and holds up his chin. And Will didn't even do a proper slap. He like bent his fingers back. And if you see Will walking back to his seat, the dude was smiling and like he giggled. And then everybody bought into it because he yelled, "Keep my wife's name out your bleeping mess." Stop, man. Charlene says that Grant, I thought that. Yeah, yeah, man. A lot of what you see is not real. And it's all made to get the masses to think in a certain way. It's like a test run. Let's see if, and they can go on social media and see who believes what. It's to shape your thoughts. Okay, we can make them think this by doing this. And then everybody's thinking this. It's like keeping you preoccupied with a jab before they land the right. Same with John Cena being. Oh, that happened to John Cena? I didn't even know that. So John Cena went out like that too. And I'm not happy with Denzel Washington too. He's in this new movie, Gladiator 2. And he said there's a scene where he kissed a guy. Nothing gratuitous, I guess. It wasn't, tongue down the throat. But I guess he kissed a guy and then the guy dies or something. And he said, I guess they were too scared to show it. But Denzel, like, really? Why would you do that, man? It's like they got to you too now. I mean, you was supposed to be one of the great ones. I understand that he left weird parties and got into arguments because he ain't down with all that weird stuff. But don't compromise even a little bit, man. Don't compromise even 1%, Denzel. One day we might see Jake Paul boxing Joe Biden. It's just all a joke at this point. I know. Jake Paul versus Joe Biden. Man, I wonder years from now will Jake admit that these fights were a little bit funny, you know. Man, there's a guy I forget that worked with Tupac, and I forget his name, but he posted a video years ago that's saying all of Jake Paul's fights are fake, all of them. He was saying that Tupac's actually in Mexico too, or something, or not Mexico, in Cuba too, or something. Don't know about that, but Thunder's production says that's like when they make comedians wear dresses on movies. Exactly. Yeah, you heard Dave Chappelle talk about that. How they tried to get him to wear a dress when he was filming Blue Streak, and he was like, "No, I'm not wearing a dress." Then he went to the trailer. They brought over the producer, the director. They're like, "Hey, it'll be really funny. Everybody's done it." And Dave Chappelle had a great comeback. He said, "Well, if everybody's done it, then I don't need to do it. It's kind of repetitive at this point. And plus, how is that funny? According to them, that alternate lifestyle is natural. So if it's natural, why is it funny?" And then the alphabet group likes to compare themselves to African Americans. I can't choose my skin color, but you can choose who you sleep with. You can't compare the two. It's actually an insult for them to say that. And, and for them to try to make people that way too. I thought you're born that way. If you're born that way, you don't have to try to coach me into it because you're born that way. And if it's natural, like I said, there's nothing funny then about putting on a dress because it's natural, remember? He will not be taken seriously until he fights legit fighters at his age. Yeah, Jake Paul, Canelo would fight you. I'm pretty sure now after seeing that, how much money that made. Beterbiev will fight you. I believe Andre Ward will fight you. Antonio Tarver said he's been calling you out, and Antonio Tarver's 55, a very young looking 55. Smooth skin. Antonio Tarver looks like he could be in his late 20s, actually. But Jake has got to stop with all these suspect fights. Jake Paul probably wouldn't fight Beterbiev. Nah, Beterbiev, Fizz says Beterbiev is a killer. Yeah, man, that fight would be over so fast because he would just rush Jake. He would have no fear of the onslaught. Jake has a good overhand right, and he hit Mike with a pretty good body shot, but it's still not. He's not like a Lennox Lewis type of puncher by any stretch of the imagination. And if Jake thought he was, he'd be fighting these guys, real fighters, if he thought he was that dangerous. Carl Froch and Tony Bellew as well. Oh, yeah, Carl Froch wants a piece of the action. I would take Carl Froch. I don't really care for Carl Froch's takes, but I believe he would beat the brakes off Jake Paul and Tony Bellew as well. Juan Scott says, salute, Jay Roos. Salute to you, man. Salute to Scotland. Salute to Scotland, man. Did Jake Paul get us all? Was Mike Tyson in on it? Was something really that wrong with his health? He didn't look well. His legs looked a bit shaky. He seemed like his mind was elsewhere. He seemed conflicted. Anybody that grew up watching Mike knows when something's off, or if you box, you know when somebody's pulling their punches, and you can see Mike Tyson pulling some of those punches. Froch and Bellew are basically begging for that payday. Yeah, I can't blame them on that. But they better make it clear that this is I used a double negative, not no. But this is not going to be a exhibition. We're going to wear the normal size gloves, and it's going to be 3-minute rounds. Sammy Thompson says, or maybe he should get in there with Deontay Wilder. Yeah, take a shot from Wilder, Mr. Paul. I saw Jake Paul talking to that former football player who was trying to box, and Jake Paul said, "You think you could beat Wilder?" So apparently, he has high respect for Wilder. So yeah, Jake, get in there with Wilder. Pond Scott says that's probably happens when he is stoned. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it used to be Jonathan Roos 619, but I changed it to the J Roos Theory. Same as here on Instagram. You can follow me on there. If you guys wish to donate to the J Roos Theory, the Cash App is $J Roos 33. And you know, Roos is ROOS, not ROSS, not Ross, but Roos. $J Roos 33. Don't be a dine and dasher. Support you dude, J Roos. That's more punches than Mike threw the whole fight, I bet, what I just did. We love you, Mike, though. We just don't want to see you get taken advantage of, even though you came away with lots of money. Do you really want to be remembered to losing to a YouTuber, a former Disney guy? They show videos what Mike was doing when he was 16. He was boxing. When Jake was 16, he was looking a little zesty, doing some little fruity dances, man. Do you want to lose to that type of dude? I think not. I think not. And I want to say too, once again, shout out to Seconds Out. They mentioned me and my interview with Jet Blackwell that we did about the sparring with Mike Tyson. They mentioned me watching my video, so I appreciate Seconds Out. Watched them for years. They've done interviews with trainer James Bashir like I have, and they just done, great job covering boxing. They got what 800 some thousand subscribers. I'm sure they're soon to reach 1 million. Radio Raheem and all them dudes. So shout out to them for acknowledging the J Roos Theory. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Feels good to be acknowledged by your peers. Is that on Tyson's official record? If so, it is a disgrace. They said it would go on both guys' professional record, unless that was just a marketing tool to dupe the public. They said it would go on both guys' professional records, and that's why I wonder, is that why Mike looked conflicted before the fight and at the last press conference? And contrary to popular belief, I don't think that slap was staged at the weigh-in. It just came too hard and too fast. That was the best shot Mike landed on Jake, was at the weigh-in. I don't think that was scripted. I think that was Mike frustrated, not only that he got his toes stepped on and he had bad legs, but I think he was mad that he was going to have to lose this fight. Grant Rogers says, I got Mike Tyson's Punch Out for Christmas back in 1986. Thanks, Dad. Watch Mike all through the 80s. Mike could have seriously hurt Jake. Even now, he was ripped. Easy work. Yeah, Mike's body looked better than Jake's, at 58. So that shows he trained hard. I don't know if if Jake was like, hey, man, you got to train hard just so this fight looks legit, Bruce Gass, Boxing Jazz, and Morris says BoxRec has them both suspended by the state of Texas. Yeah, I think that's because I read something about that suspension. But if you got any more info on that, Bruce, let me know, because I want to hear about that. Are they investigating it? Or are they not considering it a pro fight, or just what? That I just had to watch it again, without the buffering. I just had to watch it. I just had to watch it again, just to see if there was anything I missed the first time. Oops, what I do? So I just had to see it again to see if there was anything I missed on the night of the fight. No way should that abomination be counted on a legend's record. Yeah, that's insane. That's why I think Mike was a little irritated. And the thing about it, like Mike said, he doesn't need the money. He's very well off. You know, his business is the top business in the world at what he does. I don't like what he's into, but if it's selling, as he says it is, he doesn't need the money. So why go out like that, Mike? And he's talking about he still wants to fight. Like, only way I watch Mike Tyson fight again is if he gets some surgery on his legs and it's not Jake Paul he's getting in the ring with. I don't want to see Jake Paul fight ever again. I really don't. I don't even want to see him rematch Tommy Fury. Oh yeah, Hasim Rockman Jr. I think he wants that fight. They were scheduled to fight before, it got canceled for some reason. I don't want to see Jake Paul no more unless it's just a dude that I know is not gonna cave into the pressure to get money. That's why he was biting his gloves. Mike was keeping his anger at bay, right? That's what a friend of mine, John Johnson, was saying. Yeah, yeah, that's what it looked like. Mike was like a lion in there, like ah. That'd have been hilarious if Mike just went off script and was like, "Nah, forget this, pal." Bruce Gas says he has 10 million net worth before the fight. Now he's at 30 million for one fight. He's looking for generational wealth now. Man, Mike. Man, man, man. So that's what it comes down to. Wow. And I'm on here talking about I would fight Jake Paul for free, which I would do. You know, if boxing was winner take all, you get better fights. If it was like you ain't getting nothing unless you win, you would see dudes going all out. Why don't you do that, Jake? Winner take all against a up and coming fighter. Fight Martin Bacoli, Jake. Let's see how that works out. Thunder's Productions. Mike knew if he let a uppercut or hook go, it's lights out. Yeah, he was just standing there and he's doing a lot of bobbing and weaving. So I'm like, okay, your legs are good enough to bob and weave. Why aren't you lunging up like you've been doing your whole career, like you were doing in sparring? Bon Scott says also if that was getting odds at the bookmakers, then surely not legal. Wow. Hmm. Yeah, when there's that much money involved, what did Jake get, around 40 million and Mike 20 million? When there's that much money involved, you never know if there's some funny business behind the scenes, and you hate to see that. You like to think the sporting events you watch are legit, but there's a lot of indicators that might not quite be what you think it is. Man, I guess they knew though that if they didn't train hard, that I guess they knew if they didn't train hard that the public, after seeing the fight, would really say it was staged. So Jake was probably like, "Man, you have got to train like this is 1985, man. So go in there, get in the best shape of your life, go in there, get in the best shape of your life, and people gotta believe this is legit." More money probably lost in bets than was won by the fighters. Yeah, man, that's really sad. Really sad. I said in one of my videos, Showbiz was right there ringside, and he said after round one, and they're looking at Mike's knee brace, he was like, "Yeah, I lost my money. I lost my money." Sammy, where are you from, man? Are you from the US or the UK or just where? He said it really irritated me that this wasn't the young Mike. I really wish Mike was still in his prime. That's the thing. He looked like he was in his prime in training camp. So when we saw what happened on fight night, we was like, "Where's that Mike that we was just watching? What happened to that Mike?" We wanted a legit mic drop. Mike. Sammy Thompson from New York. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to New York. East Coast in the building. East Coast in the building. Shout out to the NY. I'm from San Diego, California, now in Georgia. I do not like Georgia at all. I do not like Wacklanta. I'm a Cali guy. See this? There you go, San Diego, 619. That's where I grew up. But, going back to the Jake Paul thing, the fight was kind of depressing. It was, first we saw Serrano get headbutted and lose the fight again. And they're talking about a third fight. I don't want to see it. It was an action packed fight. It wasn't too much skills involved. Both girls have skills, but it was more like just toe to toe. And it was fun to watch, but I don't want to see a third fight with headbutts and all that. Remember the Serrano fight that got canceled before she came in the ring? It was on a Jake Paul card, and I think she had problems with her eyes. Well, now she probably really have problems after them headbutts. And you could see Katie Taylor coming in with her head. I really wish they put stipulations on retired fighters can't fight younger people. But what I'm saying is it's not really the age thing. It's lifestyle. It's how you live. Because like someone was saying, and I keep quoting them, how many 60-year-olds do you see run marathons and win them? 60-year-olds, 60 plus, 70-year-olds. So it's more of Mike probably abusing his body with drugs, not so much the age. Because, like I said, I'm 52. I beat the brakes off a dude in his 20s. It would be actually insulting for me to get beat up by a 20-year-old. I would feel like a little kid beat me up or something. And I work out so hard that I have yet to see anyone, teenager, 20s, being able to keep up with me. I do low reps, I do low weights, very, very high reps, like 35. I've done 55, side laterals, curls, skull crushers. I do push ups. I don't see nobody doing that on a consistent basis. I never miss. Yeah, Sammy, but then again, some old people are healthy. So, yeah. And two, I hate to hear people when they reach a certain age call themselves old because you become what you say. So, I could be 80. I'm never going to say, yeah, I'm old and, I'm breaking down. You are what you say. I could never say that. Thunder's Productions. I just wish they wouldn't put a muzzle on the power punches in these type of fights. Let them land. Yeah, that's what was frustrating me. Mike gets a clear body shot, and you see him just tap Jake on the ribs like, I could have got you. Not gonna do it, but I could have. I could have. No, we didn't pay to see a sparring session without headgear. Everybody involved with that should be ashamed of themselves. They tried to market that as a legitimate pro fight. Those of us that have boxed, like me, those of us that have grown up, I've been watching boxing for over 30 years. We know what we saw. We know what we saw. That wasn't legit, in my opinion. Could be wrong. I don't think it was legit. Not saying it was choreographed, but I think they just knew if you get a clear shot, don't take it. Because you could see both guys holding back. I even did a video at first saying that I felt like Jake Paul was showing Mike Tyson mercy by not getting him up out of there. But Mike was showing him mercy too. They should have called it the Mercy Fest. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up for me too. Helps get me in the algorithm. J Roos Theory. Subscribe to my backup platform and WJ. Appreciate y'all. The Chargers, man. LA Chargers were whooping the Cincinnati Bengals last night and then blew it in the second half. And you know the term chargering looked like they were going to blow the lead, and they held out and won. So that made up for the garbage Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. The Chargers came through, didn't let it go to overtime. And without Khalil Mack, so shout out to Jim Harbaugh doing his thing. Who has it better than us? Shout out to the director who covers the Chargers on YouTube. He was losing it when the Chargers were coming through in the fourth quarter. He just literally screamed like, ah! So shout out to the Chargers. They're 7-3, right behind the Kansas City Chiefs. We got something for you, Kansas City refs. Oops, did I say that? Name change. No longer the Kansas City Chiefs, the Kansas City refs. Them dudes be getting all kind of calls, no calls. When you play the Chiefs, you're not only playing them, you're playing the league and the refs. It becomes WWE on grass. Maybe Mike is not really ready to settle down. He still feels like he has more to prove. That's what I thought. That's why I thought, nah, Mike ain't taking no dive, not Mike. You saw him crying on his podcast about, still having that hunger in him, and he feels like he said a B word by not doing it sometimes. So I think that's why he felt the way he felt on the night of the fight. I think he felt like he was being cowardly by agreeing to whatever they agreed to behind closed doors. I saw Jack Johnson versus Jess Willard live. Did, you didn't really? No, you did. When was that fight? But, you know, I just never thought Mike would agree to some nonsense. Mm, they say money talks, huh? But I'm hoping it's just maybe Mike's legs. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, it wasn't an exhibition behind closed doors. But that's exactly what it looked like. When you think about it, the big gloves, Mike biting on the gloves more than he's swinging, Jake not going in for the KO, even though I kind of figured maybe he's just trying not to get a backlash. I think he thought too, if it was legit, if I knock out Mike, people are going to really hate on me for knocking out a 58-year-old. But two, like I said, what commission would sanction that? So they're probably covering their back. They're probably like, hey, you can market it as a pro fight, but we all know it's an exhibition. That's what I think happened. It says, unfortunately, Mike sold his soul for some Benjamins. Mike, your soul isn't for sale. It's not your own. Come on, man. Find Yeshua, Mike. Leave the drugs alone. Find Yeshua. Get away from the Islam and the Muslim stuff. Yeah, I said it. Not ashamed of the name Yeshua, Yahweh, Yahweh, the Most High. Or if he had knocked Mike out, he would probably get death threats. He probably would have, man. He might be getting them now. People are so upset that they lost their money, man. People get crazy with it. It's like I would never get that upset to where I'm gonna threaten a dude's life over it. That's crazy. But when people lose money, big money, they get real frustrated and aggressive. Can you imagine Jake being hit by that shot AJ hitting Ghana with? He'd be dead. Man, if AJ hit Jake Paul with that punch, Jake's beard probably would have come off. It'd be like, oh man, that beard was Velcro the whole time. Oh man. It's like when they make. Oh, why is my thing still on that? His beard would spin like Daffy Duck's bill. Laugh out loud. Yeah, man, I remember them old cartoons. Those are funny. You got more real fights in them cartoons than we got Friday. It was just an odd night. First of all, having a fight on a Friday was odd, and then that nonsense we got in the ring was odd. The Katie Taylor Serrano fight was odd. The first fight was boring. I thought Mario Barrios would knock that guy out, and he got knocked down. They both got knocked down, but I thought Mario would do better. This is just a weird night, man. But you live, you learn. And to quote George W., fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on. We can't get fooled again. George W. So Showbiz lost 12,000, but if you can bet 12,000, you're probably not hurting for money. So shout out to Showbiz the adult. I'm hearing rumors saying that Mike Jake Paul fight was a ritual. Is it true? Yeah, I'm hearing that too, man. A humiliation ritual. Mike looked humiliated coming to the ring, man. So I don't know. When people make lots of money, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, Sammy. Look up Ernesto Bergamasco knocking out a young fighter that challenged him. That's how the old men do it. They still got that power, which is why I think Tyson threw it. Leave that name after the video's done. Leave that name in the comment section in case I forget it, because I want to look that fight up. Because that's a weird last name. I'm probably not going to remember it. But I want to see that. What year did that fight take place? Appreciate y'all coming through, though. Appreciate it. My pugilism planet. Had to rewatch that fight, man. Had to. Because when I was watching it, I wasn't quite thinking what I'm thinking now. So now I'm looking at it with a different lens. I mean, I could tell something was off, but I didn't really catch Mike throwing his punches so much. I just thought his balance looked weird and he looked fatigued. And he was breathing heavy. Jake looked like he was breathing heavy too, though. I couldn't even hardly watch the fight. It kept freezing on Netflix. Mine was freezing so bad at one point. I thought I was in Antarctica. It was freezing so bad. Yeah, it was. Netflix was getting their freeze on that night. Guess it's like, we got you tonight. We're pausing and buffering, and you still tuned in and broke us off some major money. Thank you, viewers. I'll tell you, man. Everybody over at Netflix got a nice size check for that. I do believe. It's a short video, and the old man was a former pro welterweight, 71 years old. Man. Was it recent? Sammy Thompson says it was freezing because so many people were watching. The servers got overwhelmed. Yeah, that's what I heard. Like what? So many millions and millions and millions watched that fight. It was definitely an event. Thunders Productions Netflix servers located in North Pole. Yeah. Also, is in 2021 bond. Okay, appreciate that. Like I said, when I go off here in the videos on my page, leave those names in the comment section. I want to check that out because people like Tony's reviews don't believe anytime you get to 50 you can beat anyone in their 20s, which is completely asinine nonsense. I think it was a heavy spar rather than a fight. Okay, I want to check it out though. You know, in Western culture, people seem to really be into youth, man. They don't think you should rap past a certain age. You can't fight past a certain age. I guess they think you have one too many birthdays. You should just sit in a rocking chair and reminisce. No, that's not living, man. It's not living at all. That's the link. Okay, appreciate it, man. We got the Blue Baron in the building, y'all. Says, what's going on, big man? What's going on, man? The Blue Baron. Shout out to you. Appreciate you coming through. Mic check 1 to the 2. Was Paul? I call him Jake Paul. Was Jake Paul and Mike Tyson real? I thought you knew. The servers crashed. We lost our cash. And now it's all a thing of the past. Did Mike Tyson take a dive? The fight went past 5. The Blue Baron, you think it was fixed? I'm starting to think it was, man, because I rewatched it and you can clearly see Mike Tyson pulling his punches. Like he went to the one thing stood out more than anything. It was a left hook he threw to the body. He let up off of it. Why would he let up off of it? It's like he just tapped Jake to let him know, like, I could get you if I wanted to get you. And even Jake landed a good overhand right at one point, and it was open the whole fight pretty much, you know, and he just wouldn't throw it. And Mike wasn't punching through the target; he was punching at the target, and it was just. I don't think it was choreographed, but it's like they knew to treat this like an exhibition. And one thing too, if Mike's arms are that tired, how was he keeping them up the whole time? If you can keep them up, you can throw them. When your arms are tired, you got them down. So no way that was real. Only spanner in the works is Tommy Fury 1, but maybe that was fake too. Makes you wonder, man. I think the Furies, they're fighting, man. I don't think they would go out like that, you know. And even if they signed up to that, they might be like, yeah, just sign up to lose to Jake, but when you get in the ring, go off script. They care about their family name a lot. Do you think we'll get Jake Paul versus Usyk now? Can you imagine that? Jake wouldn't know what hit him. He wouldn't win around, and he would get stopped. Jake Paul versus Usyk, man. So that explains why Jake Paul was so calm. You ever seen a guy fight Mike Tyson that was that calm before the fight, other than Lennox Lewis? I ain't seen it. Jake versus Usyk, who you got? Man, I think I got Jake. I think Jake stops Usyk. Not at all. Usyk would show Jake the true definition of pugilism. The true definition. Did you see the old boy that Bellew took to the presser? No, I didn't see that. I heard something about something that went on with Tony Bellew and some real tall guy. Fizz is cracking up. Charlene says, even though it won't happen, I'd like Jake to take a punch from Zhang. Ooh, yeah, man. That would change Jake's whole lifestyle, man, because he'd be eating soup for like a month or more. Face shattered. Thing about Zhang, man, not only can he punch, but like he seemed like he don't even get bothered by other people's punches, so he can take it and dish it. Zhang Bacoli has to happen. I gotta watch Kurt. He from Counterpunch Boxing News. He was talking about that Caballero pulled out of the Bacoli fight, and I think Bacoli said something about it, and I guess Caballero responded. So I want to hear his response and why he pulled out of that fight. I know not too many heavyweights want to get in there with either of those guys, Caballero or Bacoli or Zhang, for obvious reasons. I want to see Frank Sanchez get a rematch with Caballero because I'm hearing he had some health problems. So I want to see what he fights like healthy against Caballero. I still got Caballero though. Who you got in Fury, Usyk Fury 2? And if Usyk wins, do you think Usyk deserves to be seen as a GOAT level fighter? Usyk deserves to be a boat, best of all time, man. If he because look who he's beaten. He beat that Witherspoon guy. He beat Derek Chisora, beat Dubois, even though I thought Dubois kind of got messed with. He beat AJ twice, beat Fury. If he beats Fury again, yeah, he's definitely got to be in the conversation. Definitely. I did a video about is Usyk the best fighter of all time? Bon Scott says Bellew took an old man that looked in his 90s to the Jake Paul presser and said, "Fight him next." That's what he likes, fighting old men. Oh my goodness! Did he really do that? Oh man! I know Jake didn't like that, but Jake's probably like, "Oh, are you crazy? Hey, get his name and number before you leave. Can he throw a jab? Can he make it look good? Hey, get all his information before he leaves, just in case Mike pulls out." One day we might see Jake Paul boxing. Oh, I read that already. I can't stand Bill. Why he got a little bit too much mouth. He needs to go away. Thunder's Production says, haha, get his number. Yeah, Jake was looking at him like, no, like, stop, Tony. I would never fight him. No, not at all. Can our makeup team make him look like he's in his 50s? Blue Bear says way too much. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Big Baby Miller. He got humbled by Dubois for a minute, but now he's back running his mouth. So I'm not a big Jarrell Miller type of guy because he doesn't know how to trash talk. He always has to get gutter with it. And, pride comes before a fall, like the scriptures say. And he seems to have a lot of pride. Why? I don't know. It's not like the dude is a hard puncher. Anderson is finished too. I think Anderson can actually come back, but he has to get his head right, man. I think he could be a pretty good fighter. He's got the skills, he's got the size. He just has to make sure he's not just doing it for the money. Bon Scott says Tyson versus Abeabuchi. Right now, definitely Ike, because Ike's kept himself in great shape and hasn't abused himself. So definitely Ike. But back in the day, ooh man, that's tough. I might say a draw, maybe. I think Tyson was probably a little bit harder puncher, but Ike was right there, and he took a great punch. Never seen him knocked down. Never seen him wobbled. Even when he fought David too, I didn't see him wobbled. Says, but Anderson's heart's never been into it. That's the thing, He seems to be in it for the wrong reasons, which is money. But he moves good. He jabs well, and he just fought the wrong fight against Piccoli. You can't go toe to toe with a dude that is that heavy and can punch. That's asking for it. Even if you have a great chin, you don't want to test it that way. I heard him talking about retirement a few years ago. Yeah, yeah, me too, man. Retiring and his career just started, so there's a lot of pressure on his back. I believe he's taking care of a lot of people, and I guess that overwhelmed him at the moment. The Blue Baron says, so crazy. There's no top American heavyweights. I believe we'll get some though. Richard Torres Jr., Jet Blackwell, and him spar all the time. So look out for Jet Blackwell. Look out for Richard Torres Jr. If Jared Anderson can square himself away, look for him. As a British person, American heavyweights used to be seen as elite over here. Yeah, man. Yeah, it used to be seen as elite. Now, ooh, yeah. Jay Evans, good times one. That's an interesting name, man. Tyson Torres meniscus back when he fought Danny Williams. Tyson was compromised the whole night fighting on one leg. You need your legs or you're not going to be able to generate power. Absolutely true, man. If you can't bounce around and as you could see Mike kind of trying to get his legs up under him and he would move side to side, but he wasn't letting his hands go. But yeah, if he that leg thing and yeah, man, it wasn't a good look. That's an interesting name, man. Jay Evans, good times one. Is Danny Williams still fighting? I don't believe he is. I don't believe he's still fighting. You know how many retired boxers were gonna come back though if Mike Tyson had gone in there and done to Jake what we all know he could have done if the fight was too legit to quit. Dun, dun. He was a decent fighter in his day. Yeah, yeah, he was a decent fighter indeed. Can you imagine him trying to sell a rematch, Paul versus Tyson 2, this time for all the credibility? $80, the zone. Did Charles Martin win? I do believe he did win. I don't know if it was a knockout or what. I know it was an 8 round fight. I don't know if he won though. I mean, I don't know if he knocked him out, but I do believe he won. I know Jet Blackwell won his fight, but I haven't seen any footage of either. Charles Martin would be a good maybe match for AJ to, you know, get get his confidence back if he's lost any confidence. Klitschko smashed him though. The Klitschko's were tough, man, especially Vitali or Vitali. That dude was tough. But what, like I said, what happened to Richard Steele, the ref that was doing the Julio Cesar Chavez fight with Meldrick Taylor that stopped it in the last seconds? He was supposed to be the ref from what I looked up, and then all of a sudden there's somebody else. So I don't know. It was just a weird night, weird circumstances, you know. How's life in the U.S. at the moment? You know, it's pretty much the same. Still pretty much the same microwave undisciplined society. You know, how's life where you're at, Mr. Barron? Jay Evans, Good Times One, says his other leg was overcompensating for the other, which worn his good leg out, overworking. His mobility was shot way before the fight. That's why he stayed real close to his coach doing the pad work. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense that, you know, the reason he was trying to crowd his space like that. Yeah, and he wasn't really trying to crowd Jake's space. He's staying on the outside. He's real squared up. And, you know, they always teach you to kind of stay at an angle to give less of a target. Excuse me. But Mike usually squares up when he's about to throw a shot. But this time he's just squaring up, doing nothing, just walking around like this. Are you repping Trump and all that red? I used to be down with. If he's what he says he is, I was all for the dude. But then certain things were taking place that were a little bit antichristish. So the jury's out on him. But he's definitely, if he's what he is and there's no agenda, then yeah. But you know, I'm definitely not a Kamala dude. She was locking brothers up like she was getting paid to. Well, I guess she was getting paid to do it. But yeah, definitely not a Kamala dude. Not a democrat either. I don't call them Democrats. I call them democrats because they go against everything the scripture says. And I don't get how any preacher in the pulpit like uh what's his name, Jamal Bryan and Warlock. I call him Warnock. I call him Warlock because how in the world you gonna get in the pulpit and be pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQ, and all that, and then get up in the pulpit? How you gonna? That's a contradiction. You can't be pro-scripture and then when you run for office, you go for everything that's against scripture. So I'm not a Kamala dude. I'm not a war, whatever his name is. And I thought Herschel Walker tore him up in the debates too a couple years ago. Says yeah, Kamala was trash. The Blue Baron said they do. Jay Evans, Good Times One, says the reasons why Mike was biting his glove was out of frustration, not being able to get to the target and move around. I thought he might be biting his glove too because he wanted to knock Jake's head off and he knew he's not allowed to. The Blue Baron says facts 100. Thunder's production says facts. Yeah, I don't get these preachers that try to justify sin when they're politicians and then get in front of you on Sunday and tell you that they're ministers of the gospel. What gospel you reading? You know, you're supposed to obey the laws of the land, but when they contradict scriptures, you go with the scripture. You don't go with the laws of the land over the Most High's word. What's the matter with you preachers? Somebody needs to snatch them out of the pulpit. Remember when Yeshua was turning over the tables? What do you think he would do now? All these scandals coming out with preachers' names. You're not supposed to have your name attached to any of these weird parties and all that. You know, you're supposed to keep a clean name. Jay Evans, Good Times One says, yeah, that too. Shout out to you, Jay Evans, man. I like that name, Jay Evans. I feel like their LGBT spell is wearing off, and the identity politics BS. Yeah, it's all a mess, ain't it? It's all a mess. They're trying to force feed you this weirdness. America's basically Sodom and Gomorrah with technology, and from what I understand, Rome destroyed itself from the inside out, and that's just what America's doing. Doesn't matter if you have the strongest military in the world, if you have no morals, you're gonna decay. You're gonna decay. You know, America's like somebody with a beautiful face, and then they open their mouth and all their teeth are rotten. That's what America's like. We're on the verge of War 3. Biden is given the green light to push the button. Man, this world, man. I feel like we're living in the book of Revelation and Daniel, man. These are definitely the last days. The days of Noah are upon us. You got preachers like Mike Todd out there. I don't know how these people get people to their churches. I guess it's for entertainment because it sure ain't legit. Romans started to fall apart when men started to dress like women and vice versa. Yep. And you see it here, man. And then if you say anything against it, you're the weird one. Like, huh? Charlene says, end times for real. Yeah, end times for real. Credits are rolling. If this was football, it'd be fourth quarter with 7 seconds left. And you know, in football, 7 seconds might last 20 minutes, but it's still 7 seconds. So stay alert, be aware, don't be fearful, but be cautious and alert. Sammy Thompson, I believe we're definitely in the book of Revelation. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You just look out your window, turn on the TV, and stop believing these news channels. They're trying to make you think a certain way. They're paid to say what they say. They're trying to shape your thoughts. They create fear and then give you they create the problem and then give you the solution. We're in the days of Noah. Absolutely, Thunder's production. The days of Noah, indeed. And I don't know how anybody can not believe the scriptures because it's telling you everything that's happening right in front of you. It's giving you the playbook. And, you know, it's like people that don't know it, it's like they want to stay in their ignorance. Every time I look up new news has popped up, things are getting progressively worse by the minute. Yeah. That's why when people vote for a certain person and they think, oh, they're going to make it lovely again and everything's going to be peaceful and we're going to do cartwheels through the lilies. No, no. You can pray for peace in your own household and peace with your life and your finances, but don't expect everything to go back to what you think it should. Doesn't the scripture say something like when they say peace, it'll be war? He never once hurt Mike. He just knocked Mike off balance due to his lack of mobility. Yeah. Jake was tired in the fight and he didn't take it easy on Mike, swinging for the fences with his eyes closed. Exactly, man. It looked more when I first saw it live, I thought Mike was hurt, but then when I saw the replay, the instant replay and rewatched it, you could see he wasn't hurt. He was just off balance. So yeah, you're right about that. Charlene says, I see the news as entertainment. Some of the BS is so obvious. Yeah, it's all scripted. I've seen channel after channel. They're all reading off the same script. They pause, they laugh in the same areas. It's all scripted. It's all scripted. There was a old movie called Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in the movie they were showing on the billboards how the news would be able to even make somebody look guilty of a crime that they didn't commit. They were giving you game right there. People thought it was just a movie. They were saying how they can, and I think AI is probably some of the most dangerous technology out. They can take your voice, make you sound like you did something you didn't do. They can show your face and make it look like you're saying something you didn't say, and then it's your word against theirs. So that's some AI technology is I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I think Ice Cube said he's suing anybody that uses his voice. Scripture says this world will only get worse as time goes by. Exactly. So I don't know where people think is gonna return back to doing cartwheels in the fields. Um, Ice Cube recently put out a music video where he's in the church and he's trying to make a playful video. He's trying to make it a playful video, and he's in the church. Like Ice Cube has done a lot of blasphemous stuff, regarding the church and his lyrics. But at some point, I'm open. I'm praying for O'Shea Jackson. That's Ice Cube's real name. That he comes to the truth, because it ain't funny. I know the church is a lot of these churches are not right, but for him to feel comfortable enough to doing that, it's like, and even in that movie he did where they were like robbing the church, it's like, come on, man, stop, Cube. He can be turned around. Thunder's production says once you learn God is real, everything else gets null and void. Break it down, man. Break it down. Thunder's Productions knows what he's talking about. That's what people don't understand, man. The spirit world was here first. It was here first, and then we were created from that. And that's why words are important too. People think you could just say whatever. Even names meant something back in the scripture times. Names meant something. Nowadays, people just name their children something based off of, I want to name him Connor, or my uncle's name was Connor, so I'm gonna name him after him. Back then, names meant something, and words are powerful. Look at everything that was created by words. People just speak carelessly, they cuss. It's called cursing for a reason. Think about it. Or the movie where the office is in a church. Wow. Yeah, see, a lot of these movies are so disrespectful to the church, and they don't really do it with too many other. Uh, I say religions. They don't do it with them, but they like to do it with Christians. Why? Because it's the real thing. I know I don't like to even use the word Christian because, from what I understand, that was a derogatory term. They were really called followers of the way, and they would say, "Look at those Christians over there." It was meant to be. used in a way that wasn't good, but you know. Oh, Charlene, that was in 21 Jump Street. So see, Cube's going at it again. Cube seems to have a real problem with the church. I think he was on Oprah years ago in the 90s, and he was talking about the church had failed us, and Oprah stopped him and said some of the churches, not like all. Um, Cube don't talk about, the assassination of Malcolm X and all that, which I believe in here was an inside job, but he wants to keep talking about the churches. And unfortunately, the richer he gets, the harder it'll be to, for him to change his mind because greed is a powerful thing. And the dude is no doubt has a great delivery, great voice, and he's doing the big three. But what does all that mean? The minute he leaves this world, he can't take none of it with him. So I hope you hear this, Ice Cube, O'Shea Jackson, or your son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., and your other son. Y'all need to get right, man. Stop going at the church like that. It's not funny. Been on here for quite a while. Like I said, make sure y'all hit that thumbs up, subscribe. If you're watching this after I go live, make sure you leave a comment. If you wish to donate to your dude, J Roos, the Cash App is $JROOS33. Thank you and appreciate it. Might as well take this time to shout out some platforms out there. Andrew Tucker World, Counterpunch Boxing News, Showbiz The Adult, Boxing Wave, Mr. Boxing Today 2, your boy in the bunker, DT3, the Boom Man, did I say Boxing on the Edge already? Say Mr. Boxing Today 2, Chris Jones from Pump Chasers. Thunders Productions says, peace out, everyone. It says, God bless. I got work tonight. Peace out. I'm about to get off here too, man. Thanks for coming through Thunderous Productions as usual, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to have to make you a moderator. I don't know why I haven't done that. Let me do that now, matter of fact. There you go. Thunderous Productions made you a mod. Don't know why I hadn't done that already, but thanks for coming through. Appreciate you all. Go check out the replay if you can stomach it of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'd really love to hear your opinion. Even if you disagree with me, love to hear your opinion. But thanks for coming through. Put Yahweh first, Yahweh first. Ask Yeshua into your heart. Make sure you're good so you don't fear leaving this world. And when you leave this world, you know where you're going. The Shamayim, the heavens. LSR forever. Be fearless. Cash App, $JRoos33 if you wish to donate. If not, I still appreciate you. Love you all. Be fearless. Yay.